Hi, I am Ronaldo Cortez.
My name is Sheila Mbele. I'm the first deputy chairperson of the C20 South Africa.
So my name is Tato Castle, and I'm coming from Wits University, also representing a company called Castle Dwight.
Okay, my name is Judith Sunday, and I'm coming from the organization that I lead as a director, Methodist Whiteville Outreach, which is in Gauteng.
Good afternoon there. My name is Roche Kester. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the sous Sherpa for the C20 here in South Africa.
Ligama lami uThanya Kekana, William Kekana. Ngibuya ko Gauteng Traditional Council under Chief Mugiba.
My name is Lindy Lesheze. I'm the co-facilitator of the Digital and Inclusive Economies.
I think the way forward is to have measurable action steps that are very simplistic and they give true achievable goals where you can check and balance what you're doing. We don't want to be in situations where we're doing a whole lot of busy work and there's no production, there's nothing to show for the steps of action and the mind and investments involved.
And I think the reason I'm here at C20 more specifically is to break the bridge or to bring closer, the gap between environmental awareness and the general community. Where I come from in the south of Johannesburg, Soweto, community members really have an understanding of what environmental change, environmental awareness is. And so I came here to voice that and to just listen to the different voices that can help us understand our communities better so that we, as entrepreneurs, as future scholars, we can create businesses, employment solutions that can better connect and relate with our people. Being young, because we are in a room full of so much experience, we first have to listen. In listening, then correspond and respond to the elements, the values that are most close to good governance they spoke about, but also very close to impactful change, right? So young people can engage in what is more direct and impactful to you, the people you know, that is aligned to the values of the C20, the G20, the Y20, and all the other groups that relate to impactful change. Because it is no use, it is no good if we sit in rooms and discuss but not change lives. So I'm all about how do we then get on the ground with the information that we got, with the knowledge, because wisdom is applied, So how do we then start applying and engaging that wisdom with actual life changing and making lives improving the standard of living of our people, because we have a lot of work to do, a lot of lives to change.
C20 influences the government because it actually involves the general society in Africa and South Africa. And then even the kings and queens and chiefs, Tribal Council are participating in order to shape and give direction to government and G20.
I think the crux of the matter here is really looking at the policy pack that came from Brazil and looking at it with a South African lens first. We are looking to include national interventions, but then also looking in the broader context of the AU and what that means in terms of the 54 member states and then globally. But I think because South Africa has such a progressive constitution, we know that civil society organizations here have been at the helm of creating great policies, great standard operating procedures, great policy frameworks to ensure that there is a continuity of the work. And the only way that we can really get a grasp of what people want is looking at grassroots organizations, looking at the people that implement on a daily basis, looking at where the gaps exist in the ground when they are doing this work. And I think this is the only thing that will really that needs to be amplified on the global stage so that we don't forget the people that we are doing this work for, which is the citizenry of our country, but also the citizenry of the world.
I think, as the word says it all, C20, this is the civil society. And civil society, it's made of organizations that are there. And as to date, we have 1,500 organizations that are from the grassroots that have, taken an opportunity to register and become part of civil society because they want themselves, their voice to be heard. They don't want anything is to be said about them without them. So we are ensuring that there are 14 working groups that are here, and we've grouped all members that are here, organizations, so that they are able to take their issues and discuss their issues and the policies, and also to ensure that the policy that we'll be taking to G20, it is led by communities. So by ensuring that we are bringing communities, in actual fact, C20, it's a community space. That C may not only stands for civil society, but it also stands for community, grassroots level, led by communities themselves. So we are expecting them to tell us what they want to see, not us what they want to see. So we are expecting communities, all members that are here, coming from different walks of lives, are here to speak their voice so that we, Tina, as an Apex leadership, were able to take their voices back to government, back to G20 and present them. But the policy is led by communities, not by the Apex leaders. So everyone that is here, this is the grassroots, this is their time, this is their voice, they are making these policies themselves.
For the C20 to make sure that they reach out to the grassroots, how they can reach out to the grassroots or making sure that they can reach the grassroots organization. Yesterday there was a presentation when they say they're going to be provincial, but in my suggestion is that they rather start with the locals, because the challenges, the deep challenges are in locals. The organization in locals, they're struggling a lot. The organization in locals, they are closed down. And this happened since the COVID-19. So if they can go back and go there. And the second thing that they are facing now is the deregistration from the DSD. So if they can go to this grassroots organization, because of there's a lot of things that have changed now, especially COVID changed a lot of things to make things digital form. So you'll remember that organizations, they were not informed, or they were not educated with IT literacy, and organization mostly they were opened by old people. So even today, others, they are deregistered, but they are not even aware that they're deregistered. So if C20 can also assist the leaders in the locals to assist the NPOs that are struggling currently, maybe to decide if an organization still wants to continue to do the work, or they just want to just close down. But it shouldn't be the forces that are coming with the laws or the bylaws that are here that are in the system as we speak. Yeah, I think in C20, to make sure that they research those things, they must also make sure that all they reach to the grassroots, which is local distribution. Like, for instance, I can make an example. I'm from Ekurhuleni. Ekurhuleni has got 3 sub-districts, which is north, east, and south. So if they want to reach the Ekurhuleni and make sure that they have reached those grassroots organizations, they must go to those north, east, and south. Because remember, if you invite people to come to one central place, Gauteng in Johannesburg, organizations are not funded, they don't have funds, they can't travel. So which means they're still losing information in that fact. But if you call them to their own zone, like, the chiefs, the chief will call the people on their side. When they go there, the chief is there, it's just workable distance. Then it becomes easy for those organizations to get information.
We were looking back in the 19th centuries, how the digital transformation has happened. And, this is the second phase, and then we're actually going to the fourth, industrial revolution, where Africa is still left behind, in terms of electricity, which actually carries, which is the fundamental ability that carries the digital space. There's a lot of exclusions, people that are still in the rural areas, So what we wanted to do as well was to look at the policy development, there's still a big gap in the policy development. The government, the political will is not really to the level that we would expect. And also in terms of the digital infrastructure is really hampering, the progress in terms of a digital and inclusive economies. That's basically that. And again, there are three aspects that we're looking at in terms of effective and meaningful engagement, where we look at three main sectors, which is the government, the private sector, and the civil society, where you find that a lot of decisions that are made between the governments and the private sector, which is the corporate, and the civil society is left behind. And we always find ourselves chasing, from behind in terms of budgetary decision making, in terms of enterprise development, all of those things. We are left behind and we are reactive instead of being proactive. So that's very, very critical for us. And we also wanted to address the issues of accountability, issues of transparency in terms of trying to address sustainability, solidarity, and equality. So maybe let me just leave it at that. Basically, in a nutshell, this is what we were discussing. So the next steps, we are going to meet at least on a fortnight, not a fourth week, on a fortnight until November, so that we can just develop that policy paper that will be presented during the G20 in November. Thank you very much.